We are perceiving reality through the fraudulent lens of the white society. Fraudulent lens that falsely exalts whites and marginalizes us. We then accepted those lies as being facts. Case, point, and proof. The white society has taught us that Thomas Edison is responsible for lighting up the entire world. However, the hidden truth is that after Thomas Edison patented his light bulbs, no companies purchased it, nor mass produced it. This is because it was deemed not efficient enough. It lit very dimly and only lasted a few minutes. The light bulb that was purchased, mass produced, and its inventor dispatched around the world to oversee its installation was in fact actually invented by an African-American inventor named Lewis Latimer. He sold it to the U.S. Electric Company in 1881. The white society has also taught us that the Wright brothers are responsible for building the first aircraft in 1909. And the public now functions based upon that to the benefit of the white society, because that narrative exalts the white society. However, the hidden fact is that before the Wright brothers flew their aircraft in 1909, a black man named Charles F. Page had already invented, patented, and flown an aircraft 3 years earlier in 1906. The white society has also taught us that Henry Ford invented the first automobile. They forced us on us, and this is all in our schools. However, it was actually an African-American inventor named Charles R. Patterson that built the first automobile. The C.R. Patterson and Sons company started out as a carriage building firm in 1873. He and his son converted the company from a carriage business to an automobile manufacturer. They started making automobiles before Henry Ford, and they sold the first one for $850. It had a 4-cylinder Continental engine. C.R. Patterson's automobiles were considered more sophisticated and more advanced than Ford's. However, C.R. Patterson and Sons were forced out of business by Henry Ford in 1939. It's by deliberate design that most people are unaware of these facts. These facts have been deliberately omitted from the public conscious, because they're omitted from our whitewash history books. And the public instead functions based upon white exalting lies. All you have to do is keep repeatedly feeding through media ads, falsely scripted movies, miseducation, lies into our society. And then before long, the majority of the population will then accept those lies rather than what's actually true. Those lies become the truth that the public believes and then function based upon. Repetition makes false disclosures appear more truthful. It's a true social science fact. Through their monopoly over information that are fed into our society, the white population has also manipulated millions to believe that most inventions that we commonly use today came from the minds of white people, and to perceive black people as being the leeches of society that haven't invented much throughout history. This commonly held perception is the core reason for the false feelings of superiority that whites possess and the feelings of inferiority and self-contempt that many black people possess. But the truth is, the white society's collective self-esteem has been falsely boasted at the expense of black people. The truth is much different than what they've manipulated millions to believe. After slavery was abolished in the U.S. in 1865, and in spite of receiving no reparation and being constantly plagued by the evil injustice of continued white racism from the narcissistic white society, from 1870 through 1940, African Americans submitted 726 invention patent applications to the U.S. Patent Office. Not only is this an extraordinary achievement under these noted circumstances and so closely following slavery, but it also more than doubled the number of patents submitted by whites during the same period. And in spite of the fact that African Americans then made up less than 3% of the U.S. population. This scenario of black people outperforming whites in the inventions of revolutionizing technology is concealed by the white society's monopoly over information. The hidden reality is that in spite of cultural traumas wrought by the injustice of white racism and slavery, most inventions that have revolutionized the world were in fact either invented by black people or were directly inspired by earlier inventions by black people. Your perception is a white deception. Without black people, there would exist no motors, no automobiles, no airplanes, no helicopters. Without black people, we would not have skyscrapers. We only have skyscrapers because black people invented the elevator, the air conditioning, and central heating, which are essential in order for people to work and live in skyscrapers. So all cities would look different if it wasn't for black people. Without black people, there would exist no internet, no cell phones. We wouldn't have cameras and microphones on our cell phones. We wouldn't have emails. We wouldn't have the accurate weather forecasting system. We wouldn't have the cataract laser removal scope. There would be no GPS, no hearing aids. We wouldn't have the internet. We won't have touch-tone phones, no caller ID, no home surveillance security system, no home game cartridge, no steam engines, no traffic lights. Without black people, there would exist no refrigerators, no refrigerated trucks, no blood banks, no dry cleaning, no lawnmowers, no doorknobs, no 3D movies, etc., etc. Black people have in fact enriched nearly every aspect of the lives of every person on this planet through our many inventions. Your perception is a white deception. It's actually the genius minds of black people that moves the world forward. I do realize that to many people that statement may sound absolutely absurd or ridiculous or even laughable. Whenever lies have been told to the masses over many generational lines, the truth will sound absolutely ridiculous and a speaker will sound like a raving lunatic. Nonetheless, the truth is still the truth, even if most people have been brainwashed to believe the lies. The white society has also manipulated millions to believe that Caucasians are the highest evolved Homo sapiens and that we Africans are the lowest evolved. The truth of the matter is that we Africans are the only true Homo sapiens. It's untrue that we're all African Homo sapiens. That's never been a fact. It's always been a lie created for the benefit of non-Africans. Not because millions of people believe something to be true doesn't make it true. Most often it merely means that they've all received the same disinformation. As I said before, all you have to do is keep repeatedly feeding lies into a society. And before long, most people will start believing the lie. The true hidden fact is that it's only we Africans that are truly Homo sapiens. It's been scientifically proven. We Africans have been scientifically proven as being the only true homogeneous species. The scientific classification for all other racial groups is actually Homo sapiens sapiens. The additional sapiens, this means modern humans that evolved from lower prime ape subspecies. Unlike all other groups, Africans are not even included on the Darwin evolutionary chart. We're not on that list. Africans have instead always been Homo sapien. All other racial groups have falsely attached themselves onto we African Homo sapiens in order to give themselves a Homo sapien identity. It's the true hidden reason why, in spite of despising us, putting us down, nonetheless, they claim that they came from us. Caucasians are not African albinos that turn white as a result of going to the colder climates. The term albinism is reserved to describe a syndrome resulting from very drastic change in genes that disable the production of melanin. The current scientific evidence reveals that Caucasians' physical characteristics are not caused by albinism, but are actually the direct result of genetic traits of the Neanderthal DNA. They come from primates, not from we African Homo sapiens. And it's been scientifically proven that our chocolate-colored melanated skin and our hair type are the direct result of Homo sapien DNA. Therefore, not only did they make us hate ourselves, they literally made us hate what's human about us and to revere what's not human about them. They've taught us everything in reverse from what is true, because in order to maintain dominance over a superior people, you have to manipulate them to believe that they are the inferior people. That's why all of our narratives are beneath theirs. This is what white social scientists have done to black people. Through their monopoly over information that we receive and believe, they have conditioned to perceive ourselves as lesser. People's behaviors align with the information that they receive. So they keep us believing lies that facilitates their long-term oppression and dominance over our lives. It's a social science. Until you learn of the many hidden social science tactics that are being secretly deployed by white oppressive forces to maintain their white social dominance, social capital, and control over us, everything else would only confuse you. I've never said that what I teach will be easily comprehended by everyone. I only said that it would be the black liberating truth. To prevent us from learning this truth, they feed lots of distracting disinformation. They have our people believing so much dumb shit, and we're calling it black knowledge. Brothers, wake up. And don't be fooled. If the oppressors were truly superior, they wouldn't have to tell so many lies in order to convey it, nor would they have to work so hard behind the scenes to handicap those who they claim are inferior.